Attention passionate Cleveland Browns fans, an important update just came in straight from the AFC North that could completely change the course of the season. Something big is happening, and it could have a direct impact on the Browns' path toward another potential Super Bowl run. We're talking about a shift in the balance of power in the division, one that could cause one of our biggest rivals to slip badly in the coming years. But before we get into that, if you're a true Cleveland Browns fan, make sure to subscribe to the channel to fuel this passion even more. Show that you're part of this family too. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share this with your friends. Now, let's get to the news. The Cleveland Browns have become one of the most talked about teams in the NFL ahead of next month's training camp. A big part of that conversation has to do with rookie quarterback Shadur Sanders. After being projected as a first or second round pick at most before the 2025 NFL Draft, Sanders took a brutal fall. He wasn't selected until the 144th overall pick in the 5th round, after the Browns made a trade to get him. Since that pick, all eyes have been on Sanders to see if he'll be able to take the field during his rookie season. At the moment, Cleveland has a four-man quarterback competition taking shape. Besides Sanders, the Browns have Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel battling for playing time. Before training camp, Sanders got involved in some off-the-field issues. Those problems led one analyst to issue a serious warning to the rookie. Nate Davis of USA Today issued a warning to Sanders about potential roster cuts before the start of training camp and the preseason. Although Sanders was widely expected to go in the first round of this year's draft, more than one commentator suggested that the son of legendary Hall of Famer and Buffs coach Deion Sanders probably would have been a day 2 pick if his name were Shadur Jones. Apparently, because his name is Shadur Sanders, and he was never really that generational type of talent who blows teams away with dazzling ability, he ended up as a 5th rounder, the kind of player who doesn't even need to give the team a reason to cut him, Davis wrote. Even though there were reports that Sanders didn't do well in pre-draft interviews with teams, which led to his dramatic fall in the draft, he seems to have left a good impression in Cleveland through OTAs and minicamp, including with Garrett. I think everyone was surprised to see him fall to the 5th round, Garrett said about Sanders. He showed up to training and OTAs with a great attitude. He's a hard-working guy, got his head on straight. He's always positive, always upbeat, always has a smile on his face. You love working with people who have that kind of attitude. He's the kind of player no one expects to steal the spotlight. The type the media sometimes puts on a pedestal and sometimes acts like doesn't even exist. And if you still think the NFL draft is just about raw talent, I hate to break it to you, it's time to rethink everything. Because, many times, it's not just about arm strength or speed, it's about narrative, perception, and yes, a political game that plays out behind the scenes. Sounds crazy? Maybe. But what's happening right now could completely change the way you view the future of the Cleveland Browns. It's not every year the Browns head into training camp with a real mix of options at the most important position in football, quarterback. And under normal circumstances, the conversation would revolve around the usual names, those long expected to lead the offense. But surprisingly, the spotlight has turned to someone who, not long ago, was barely in the NFL conversation, and for reasons that, let's say, weren't very encouraging. It's amazing how everything changes when the pads come on. Now here's the wildest part, this guy isn't even practicing with the first team. In fact, he might not even be the second option right now. But none of that seems to matter. Because everywhere you look, from locker room whispers to media takes, everyone's talking about one name, Shadur Sanders, yes, him. And let's be honest, nobody saw this coming. Especially after he fell in the draft and only got picked in the 5th round. But listen to this, Myles Garrett, one of the team's leaders, didn't even participate in voluntary OTAs. But as soon as he laid eyes on Sanders at practice, something changed. And it changed for real. This kid is always smiling, always positive, super focused, said Garrett, practically glowing as he spoke about the rookie. And for someone who would have every right to be downcast, still bitter about falling in the draft? Not at all. Shedur's energy is, in the locker room's own words, totally contagious. Now let's recap. Just a few months ago, Shedeur was seen as a surefire first-rounder. And suddenly, there he was, slipping to the 5th. But that's the NFL, it's not enough to just play well, you've got to win the narrative too. Sanders should practice what he preaches. If he's not more careful, the next judgment he faces might be a one-way trip, exile from football. Obviously, this is a very harsh opinion full of criticism. However, it's a message that Sanders should take seriously.